I hereby introduce to you Mr. Michael Veazey.
Hey guys, welcome back to Amazing FBA. Today I've got one thing to say, which is if you're worrying about politics, you're dumb. Now, forgive me, I'm going to have to explain that kind of aggressive statement on it, but basically, here's the thing. Crazy stuff is happening in global politics. I'm British, so I should know about these things because I was here on, was it June the 24th, when Brexit happened, which a lot of us thought was not necessarily the best thing for the British economy in the world, which is putting it very mildly. And the second thing is that a lot of us weren't expecting it. So, now that certain people have got into the White House, let's stay calm and keep our heads. Here's my main message to you. If you are a business person, you are self-employed, you are building a business, even more importantly, you have one massive resource that is your most important resource. And I don't think it is what you think it is. I'm going to let you think about for a second what that might be. Okay, because most of us get this wrong. We all think that money is the most important thing. Now, of course, if you're going to do a private label business, which is the main focus of this podcast, then of course you need capital. You've got to have capital. But you can have all the capital in the world and mess a business up, and you can start with very, very small capital and grow it quickly if you have the second thing, the second most important thing, which is your time. Your time is what you have to offer your business to start with as an entrepreneur. Yes, capital is important, but your time, I believe, is more important, because what you do with your time is really going to be what you do with your business and with your life indeed, right? But the number one thing that you should not be wasting is focus. Right now, we've all been guilty of taking our eye off the ball, of getting distracted, of mental noise getting in the way. And I am totally one of those people. I'm not a natural at being unbelievably focused. Sometimes I'm very focused and sometimes I'm not. Maybe that's like an artistic temperament thing, which is my background. I'm kind of an artist by nature and by training. But look, here's the thing. I don't think you should spend any time absorbing input as an information from which you cannot take action, or to put it another way, increase output, whether of your own business, making money, or for that matter, you doing better output of anything good in your life, giving more attention to your kids, giving more love to your spouse, whatever it is. Increased output necessitates decreased input. Now, I've got to acknowledge Tim Ferriss for that phrase, but it's so true. Another way of putting it is, if you keep absorbing information which you cannot take action on, you're wasting that attention, because you cannot improve your life by inhaling, as it were, or ingesting a bunch of information that you can't do anything useful with. And the classic example is worrying about who's just being elected in a country where you are not a member of the electorate and you have no control over that situation whatsoever. Now, that is not useful thing to worry about. Now, I have been following the news from America. Why is that? My excuse, if you like, is that because I sell internationally, and that includes into the States, I need to know if America is likely to change its policy on importing from China, and are they really going to put 45% import tariffs on, which is allegedly one of Trump's headline policies now. Will this happen? Maybe. Is it going to happen tomorrow? No. It's going to have to go through Congress. So, of course, Amazon can change its mind overnight about what it likes, because it works within Amazon's playground. Any legal changes within the United States are going to have to go through due process that will be reported along, that will have a certain timescale that we can see coming. Other things that interest me very greatly indeed, as a British person buying from pounds mostly into dollars. So in other words, I order and I pay my Chinese suppliers in dollars, whether or not I'm selling in the UK or the USA, and I do both. That dollar to pound relationship is really, really, really important to my business. And that's the sort of thing that changes day by day, even hour by hour. Now, that has so far worked in my favor with Trump coming in as I expected. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast recently, you will have heard Oriana and Manan sharing with us on the very subject of global currency exchanges and what drives that. And so Brexit was one of the very powerful things that drove the pound down against the dollar, and Trump coming in is generally perceived as probably going to be weakening the dollar against the pound. Having said which, there are multiple different things to take account of. The point I'm making is, though, that these are extremely relevant things for my business. Where America is going to go in terms of being an importing or non-importing country from China specifically, which affects me and most Amazon FBA private label sellers, or whether it's the dollar to pound ratio, which affects me right now, because if the ratio goes in my favor enough, I'm going to place an order pretty much overnight with my Chinese supplier, and if it doesn't, I won't. So that affects a go, no go decision, right? But that is business-like thinking. And nevertheless, this morning I set out to do a little bit of general background reading to try and get some facts. And of course, in all the hurly-burly and all the BS that goes into political campaigns, especially presidential ones in the US, I must say, there weren't that many facts to be gained. And actually what I came out of it was with a sense of confusion and a sense of lessened energy and enthusiasm, right? So now that is a big mistake. Your focus, including your enthusiasm, is pretty much your biggest asset. A very, very focused person consistently working towards something, even if they have small amounts of time to do it, if they keep doing it over time, they will get something significant done. If they have a large amount of time and they stay focused on it, it's amazing what you can achieve. Now, if you put money behind that, fantastic. You can buy money with a complete lack of focus, and I've been guilty of that for a lot of my life. I've spent quite a lot of money on different courses, on different products and things that just lacked my focus and belief behind it. One of the reasons that my Amazon business has worked is because I stayed the course. I made some focused decisions, I made some mistakes, but I learned from them. I kept going in the same kind of direction. Equally, I've got to be clear that after Brexit, I was thrown for quite a long time and wasn't really clear on my strategy. Now, I've slowly pieced together a better strategy, but the point is, I allowed myself to get derailed from a long-term plan by political noise and by just general noise that wasn't directly relevant to my business. Yes, the pound to dollar relationship changed. That was something I needed to respond to. I responded too slowly to that. Now, I don't want to make that mistake again. So my plea to you is to, number one, be careful where you spend your energy. Do not get sucked into negative, mudslinging, emotional driven activities if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Now, it might sound ironic given who the current President-elect of the United States is, right? But I'm sure he didn't get where he is by not being focused. I'm not particularly suggesting anyone copies his style. I personally wouldn't want to if you paid me lots of money. But there is a lesson. Focus on your agenda. Don't be thrown off by other people's agenda, and don't spend your life reacting against other people. You're never going to get anyone else to agree with your politics. That's the number one thing, right? You probably won't get them to really agree with your religion either, right? Religion and politics are things you can spend your life arguing about. I'm not even saying you shouldn't, right? If you want to go start a political party, do something about it, great. But the point I'm making is this. This is a business podcast. If you're going to be a business person, focus your energy and your mental focus on that on which you can take concrete action. Do not get distracted. Most people spend their lives distracted. Most people spend their lives intending to do X, Y, and Z, or whether that's start a business or get fit or whatever. Some people start, they join a gym in January. By March, the gym is empty. In February, it's pretty empty. By April, people have gone, you know what? I'm actually going to be honest about the fact I'm not going to go to the gym, even though I joined it. I'm going to cancel my subscription. Yeah. Same thing happens with Amazon training programs. I know that Ben Cummings was sharing the other day that he had a bunch of people sign up for mentoring with him, and something like 20% of the people who had the first session with him, which was on product research and selecting a product, went on to actually list the products, and only 3% of them actually went on to sell more than a couple of $1,000s worth of the product, and those were really his criteria for bothering to work with them. And that doesn't surprise me now, because I've seen enough of how it works. So don't be the person who just gets distracted. Don't be the person who starts and doesn't complete. Don't be the person who starts, goes a bit, and then kind of lets things fizzle. If your first product choice is duff, choose another one.